Sir, can you switch on speaker button? Good morning, madam.
Very good morning, sir.
Can we start, madam?
Yeah, as you say,
Okay. So this is the fourth session of Patal FDB, and we will listen from Dr. Rusika Patel uh, from Rai University, and he he is the eminent professor from the University of Rai, and her topic of presentation was biosensor for aromatic hydrocarbon pollutant assessment, a new dimension of water circular economy. Before presenting, I must speak few lines about her. Dr. Rusika Patel is currently associated as an assistant professor with Rai School of Science, Rai University. He has done her PhD from Nirma University, and he developed the fluorescent protein-based biosensing strain from aromatic hydrocarbon detection. His work also received Best Paper Award in ICMR 2018. She is an editor of upcoming book entitled Biosensing Methodology, Application and Techniques, Nova Science Publisher, New York, USA. She is also reviewer of three esteemed journal of P&F Publisher. She was reviewer of Barack S. Sittray Award 2020, Government of India. She was also recognized as a plastic waste management expert in World Sustainability Summit 2021. She is also running project entitled um, Perils of Plastic and its Eco-Friendly Solution. Rusika Patel research activity mainly focused on the biodiversity conversion with multi-faceted approach. Her research interests include three major aspects: detection of aromatic hydrocarbon pollutant in air, water, and soil, from further determination of biodegradation and bioaugmentation for better control and resource recovery. Uh, so, so now, madam, over to you.
thank you so much. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yeah, madam, it is visible.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good morning to one and all present over here. And thank you so much for introducing me. And here I also welcome you all. So today I would like to talk about the biosensor for aromatic hydrocarbon assessment and particularly whole microbial cell-based sensors. So I would like to discuss the method for the construction of biosensors, type of pollutant detected, and the applicability of such kind of whole cell-based sensor in aqueous system. So let's start with the why we need such kind of sensor for water circular economy. So here I'm focusing on the Gujarat state in my current study. So Gujarat is a petrochemical hub and has a three major port and various industrial zones. So our state has more than 90,000 industries, and state also has a second highest common effluent treatment plant for the treatment of effluent. And you guys might know about that the Ahmedabad to Ankleshwar whole region is known as the Golden Corridor and the red zone for the various disasters in has been done in previous years. So most of the industry encounter for the release of highly polluted wastewater and not able to achieve the disposable chemical oxygen demand limit. So even after the treatment. So upon analysis, we found that such kind of COD was contributed by presence of aromatic hydrocarbon compounds and release of aromatic hydrocarbon compounds. Yeah, these are the toxic and carcinogenic in nature, and upon release of such kind of compounds, these are responsible for the death of large-scale aqua stock in the near coastal areas of the Gujarat. So it is very necessary to determine hydrocarbon level at various stages of the treatment and before release into the any natural water bodies. So basically, two methods are available for the detection: analytical and bioanalytical. So these are the analytical techniques or the physicochemical methods which are already available for the detection of various kind of pollutants. But these techniques have major demerits. So we cannot implement such high sophisticated instrument for the online monitoring of the effluent. Then the bioavailability and biodegradation of data on the bioavailability and biodegradation of pollutant are not available by such kind of instruments, and they are not able to provide the information on effect of pollutant on various living system and potential synergetic or antagonistic behavior of the pollutant in the environment. So that's why I'm focusing on the particularly development of various kind of a biosensor. So biosensing strains are one of the bioprocess tool or the biosensor, and major advantage of such kind of strain is that they provide the bioavailability and toxicity data applicable for the online monitoring. So let's see the basic principle of the biosensing strain. Yeah, so this figure describes the microbial sensing system based on the regulatory protein and inducible promoter pair. So regulatory genes are the transcription activators. Yeah, so these are the transcriptor activators which produce the regulatory protein, and this regulatory protein have ability to recognize aromatic hydrocarbon compounds or the other pollutants. So they can successfully induce the promoter and now this promoter activate the gene present at the downstream. So now induced promoter activates the here we replace the biodegradation gene with the reporter gene. So this reporter gene produce the detectable signals, and signal produced by reporter gene is directly correspond to the presence and amount of hydrocarbon present into the surrounding environment or the aqueous system. So regulatory protein which are transcriptor activator first bind with the pollutants and sense them. So ability of selected regulatory protein to detect the priority pollutant is not known. So we started our work with the structure of the prediction. Structure of the proteins are not available in database. So to know the binding efficiency and molecular interaction, docking of the pollutant with the selected protein was done after the structure prediction. So this table represents the source of regulatory protein we are using for the detection of aromatic hydrocarbon. So here we are using the three different regulatory proteins. TBUT is obtained from the Ralstonia strain and having ability to detect, recognize monoaromatic compound. Then HBPR is there, obtained from the Pseudomonas species, and this particular regulatory protein have ability to recognize biphenyl compounds. And last one is the PHNR, so from the Burkholz area, and this having ability to recognize the polyaromatic hydrocarbon. So by this way, we would like to cover most of the most of the aromatic hydrocarbon pollutants present in the environment. We started with the structure prediction. Online available tools such as the iTracer, FIRE2 was used to predict the protein structure. And further refinement was done by 3D Refine and the Mod Refiner tool. And we are also using the Modeler and Swiss model tool based on the similarity we obtained through the BLAST P tool. So all the predicted structure were analyzed by the array plot, verified 3D plot, Ramachandran plot, and this figure represents the final predicted structure of the TBUT protein, and its Ramachandran plot. Z-score for this particular predicted structure fall in a range of X-ray determined experimental structure. And the Ramachandran plot also validates the predicted structure of TBUT protein. So after successful structure prediction, docking of the monoaromatic hydrocarbon with the TBUT was done using the Autodock Vina. And these are the selected hydrocarbons from the list of the US EPA priority pollutants. Yeah, this table represents the docking result obtained from the Discovery Studio and the leak plot. Compounds shown in red are standard compounds. So these are already proteins already known for the detection of this kind of aromatic monoaromatic hydrocarbon compounds. Whereas here we found the two type of interaction. One is the 5-5 and the 5-alkali and 5-sigma kind of interaction, and second is the conventional hydrogen bond interaction. So most of the phenolic compound, here we found that the most of the phenolic compound having the conventional hydrogen bond kind of the interaction with the TBUT protein. There is no major difference in the binding energy and the type of interaction between the standard compounds and other tested other investigated pollutants. So the compounds, here we can say that compounds are able to make we can say that protein may have a similar ability to bind with the selected pollutants. Let's move with the second protein, which is the HPPR protein. And so this is the structure of the HPPR, predicted structure of the HPPR protein, and Z-score fall in a range of NMR determined experimental structures. And this is the Ramachandran plot of the protein. So after structure prediction, following compounds investigated for the interaction, protein ligand interaction. Here biphenyl and 2-phenyl phenol are standard aromatic compounds, and other are related to ring aromatic hydrocarbon compounds reported in priority pollutant list. So here we also found the pi-alkyl and pi-sigma kind of interaction with the all other with most of the compounds of the pollutants, and hydrogen bond, conventional hydrogen bond was observed in dichlorobenzidine and benzidine. Next is the PHNR protein. So this is the 3D structure of the PHNR protein, predicted 3D structure of the PHN protein and its Ramachandran plot. Z-score for this particular protein fall in a range of NMR determined experimental structure. These are the docking results of the PHR protein with the polyaromatic hydrocarbon compounds. Here the naphthalene and phenanthrene are the standard compounds, whereas other are the priority pollutants. Here we consider up to the 5-ring polyaromatic compounds, because these proteins have ability to bind with the 2 to 5-ring kind of the compounds, not more than that. So lower the binding energy requirement, so the higher the binding efficiency, and all tested compounds having the lower binding energy and the better binding efficiency. Here the pi interaction was observed in all the cases. So these pi interactions are very important for the protein to recognize different kind of ligand. Further, we also go for the determination of physicochemical parameter of the protein, and the results suggested that all proteins have a higher half-life and more than 10 hours, and the thermal stability. So accuracy and reliability of the predicted molar was found to be good based on the Z-score and the Ramachandran plot. So binding energy and type of interaction were found to be similar for the standard compounds used for the detection and the priority pollutant. So data from this bioinformatic data suggests that the detection of aromatic compounds listed in US EPA priority pollutant is possible for possible by all the three selected proteins. So after the identification and screening of the protein, then we go for the cloning. So as described in working principle, after identifying this fusion of the promoter operator and the reporter gene was achieved. So these are the map of the promoter operator containing vector. So we use this. I use the SnapGene viewer platform to explore the map and genome compiler software to design the in silico cloning. So all the plasmid having the single reporter gene. So here the LuxAB is a single reporter gene in all the plasmid. So which do not allow us to differentiate the signal coming out in the presence of various compounds. So we try to replace this LuxAB gene with the three different fusion base reporter gene GFP, CFP, and RFP. So this may allow the differentiation of the signal coming from the reporter gene and a detection of multiple aromatic hydrocarbon compounds at a time. So here the first vector and the last vector, the strain 2296 and 2301 strain have a similar vector except the type of promoter operator system. So similar cloning strategy was applied to the both vector for replacement of the reporter gene. So is the flowchart. In silico cloning was performed using the genome compiler. So first we isolate the reporter gene CFP and GFP gene by PCR amplification using the specific primer. So in forward primer we use the SEC1 restriction enzyme sites, and in reverse primer we use the NSI1 restriction enzyme sites. And after amplification, this clone, this amplicon inserted into the carrier vector, which is known as a PZ vector. Then PZ and pProp vector digested with the same set of the restriction enzymes, and finally GFP and CFP were inserted into the pProp vector without the LuxAB bond, and ligation was performed using the regular NAB ligation kits. So these are the result of the sequencing of the sequencing data of the reporter genes, and we found the 99% identity with the original sequence for both the reporter genes. Yeah. So after removal of LuxAB, 500 base of LuxB part is still remain present. So we developed another strategy to remove such kind of the such fragments. And following is the strategy for the removal of remaining LuxB part. So clone vector were digested using the NSI1 and NOT1 enzymes, and terminator sequence amplified and reinserted in immediate after the reporter gene over here. Then we go for the expression of the reporter gene in presence of aromatic hydrocarbon compounds. So these are the basic parameters of the fluorimeter for the monitoring of the gene expression in presence of aromatic hydrocarbon compounds. The bandwidth, response, scanning speed, sensitivity, and all. And these are the excitation and emission wavelength we use for the GFP and the CFP. Yeah, expression of GFP in presence. This slide represents the expression of the GFP in presence of monoaromatic hydrocarbon. So this experiment was performed with the sodium benzoate as a standard substrate to optimize the process, because sodium benzoate have a high solubility and bioavailability to the E. coli strains. So first graph represents the induction time required by cells for the GFP expression, which was found to be 30 minutes. Minimum time required is 30 minutes to differentiate the various concentration of the sodium benzoate. and maximum time required time required for maximum output is of 120 minutes. And second graph represents the linear relationship between the sodium benzoate concentration and the fold induction. So it's the GFP expression fold induction values. So after optimizing the process with the sodium benzoate as a standard compound, we go for the expression of the GFP in presence of various monoaromatic compounds and their combinations. So here we observe the higher expression value in a toluene, nitrophenyl, phenyl, and ethylbenzene compounds. And expression profile of GFP in presence of mixture of compounds was found to be in additive manner. So these are the mixture of the compounds. So these are the mixture of a phenol and toluene. These are the mixture of toluene and TCP, mixture of toluene, TCP and phenol, toluene, TCP, phenol and sodium benzoate. So 20 micromole is the final concentration. So we take the 5 micromole for each compound, and here we took the 5 micromole for each compound. So 10 micromole is the final concentration of the compound. Further, we go for the relationship. We determine the relationship between the in silico data and the GFP fold induction. So as we see earlier, for the TBUT protein, there are two kind of interaction. One is a pi-pi kind of interaction, and another they have a hydrogen bond kind of the bond involvement. So BTEX compound having the interaction with the TBUT protein with the pi-pi kind of the interaction, and there is no hydrogen bond. So binding energy considered as an important parameter, and lower binding energy represent the good efficiency. So here we obtain the good high negative correlation between the binding energy and the GFP expression. And the second plot represents for the phenolic aromatic hydrocarbon compounds. In that they have involvement of hydrogen bond. So higher the number of hydrogen bond interacted were correlated with the signal output coming obtained in the reporter gene assay. So when we increase the number of hydrogen bonds, there is a good binding efficiency of protein with the ligand. So a good positive correlation was observed between the number of hydrogen bonds and the fold induction ratio. Next we move with the next reporter gene, CFP. And CFP was used to determine the poloaromatic hydrocarbon compounds. So here we use the naphthalene as a standard compound, and we see the increase in exposure time leads to the increase in fluorescence intensity till 120 minutes of incubation period. The minimum time necessary for the measurable signal output was the 30 minutes, same as the GFP. Second graph represents the linear relationship between the CFP expression and the naphthalene concentration. After optimizing the process with the naphthalene, we go for the induction of the CFP by other poloaromatic hydrocarbon compounds. So it was found the PHN promoter able to recognize poloaromatic hydrocarbon compounds and give expression in additive manner in presence of that mixture. So the lower expression was observed in a case of naphthalene, and maximum expression was observed in a case of benzoylpyrene. So such kind of variation might be a presence of a number of rings, and higher the number of rings may provide the higher surface area for protein to interact. Here the mixture of the compounds, the induction of the CFP in a mixture of the compounds was investigated, and we also found the result in the additive manner. So this one for the annexation and benzylpyrene, anthracis and phenanthrene, anthracis, benzylpyrene and phenanthrene, and last one is for the anthracis, benzylpyrene, benzylpyrene, phenanthrene, and the naphthalene. So here we also use the 5 micromole concentration of the each compounds. Final concentration is 20 micromole in a million. Then go for the comparison between the in silico analysis and experimental expression study. So here we don't have a protein ligand interaction don't have a hydrogen bonds. So that the binding energy is assumed to be a key parameter for the analysis, and high negative correlation was observed as the lower binding energy represent the higher binding efficiency, and we had the high negative correlation between between the in silico data and the experimental data. So after optimizing the process for the GFP and CFP expression with the various individual substrate and their combination, strains were applied for the detection of pollutants in actual wastewater samples. Yeah. So this map represents the major hazardous units of the Gujarat. So this dark zone represents the highest or the major hazardous units of the Gujarat. Gujarat and which Ahmedabad, Order and Vatwa GIDC are one of them. So this the red zone represents the Ahmedabad, Order and Vatwa GIDC region. So environmental samples were collected from the Kharikat Canal passing through that particular area and found to be a source of pollutant released by various industries. So we have collected the 4 samples from the Kharikat Canal, and we have collected the industrial samples from the Odo and Vatwa Common Effluent Treatment Plant. So Odo plant received more than 100 chemical industrial wastewater, whereas the Vatwa plant received more than 680 industrial wastewater. And we took the combined effluent for the analysis for the presence of aromatic hydrocarbon pollutant analysis. So this graph represents the expression of the GFP in presence of actual wastewater. This expression value corresponds to the level of total monoaromatic hydrocarbon compounds present into the wastewater samples. And we also go for the validation of the data using the GCMS method. So good positive correlation was observed among GCMS method and developed biosensing strain. In some cases, there are a high concentration was observed in the strain response due to the contribution of the chlorinated and nitro substituted compounds, because these kind of compounds which are not able to determine in a GCMS method. Same set of wastewater samples we exposed to another developed strain for the expression of the CFP, and this expression value corresponds to the level of poroaromatic hydrocarbon compounds present in the sample. So here we also go for the validation of the data using the GCMS method, and we found the good positive correlation among both the techniques. So further we go also determine and compare the Lux AB system, and it was found that protein-based genes require less space in the genome and less induction time, and these strains are more efficient as compared to previous reporter genes. As the earlier detection limit was the 0.25 micromole, whereas the current detection lower detection limit is 0.1 to 1 micromole for the GFP and 0.01 to 1 micromole for the CFP, monoaromatic and polyaromatic compounds. So they use the inoculum size 10%. Here we are using the inoculum size 5%. So the inoculum size is also low and the detection limits are high. Yeah, these are the basic environmental conditions, includes the temperature and checking condition required by the strain. Um, and the application demonstrated for the Lux AB is artificial oil spill. An application demonstrated for our strain is industrial wastewater, which includes the environmental samples, river samples, hydro canal samples, and common effluent treatment plant samples. As we all know, the Lux AB system, the required external addition of the particular substrate, whereas the fluorescent protein-based genes, GFP and CFP, do not require any kind of the external substrate. So, as our main aim is to differentiate the signals coming out from the reporter gene in the presence of various compounds, we'll go for the image analysis of the all the strains exposed to the wastewater. So, wastewater and standard compounds. So, these are the fluorescent microscope image. And first image obtained for the expression of the GFP in presence of 100 microvolt sodium benzoate compound. Second, we are still under the construction of the RFP reporter gene and the fusion of the promoter operator. So the second image we put for the reference, which showing the expression of the RFP under the lag promoter operator, and last image for the expression of the CFP in presence of 100 micromole naphthalene. We also try to overlap all the three images, and we get the different kind of color under the microscope. So we can also apply the 3 strain at a time for the detection of multiple pollutants to the same wastewater. So further, any kind of industrial applications, we need the construction of the device and the field application. So strains needs to be in immobilized form. So in this objective, immobilization process was optimized, and we tried 4 different matrices, and out of them, agar-rose was found to be a best candidate for the further process. So survival and expression of the strain under the immobilized condition was monitored and also compared with the suspended cells. So this graph represents the expression of the GFP from the suspended and immobilized cells in presence of the sodium benzoate. So here we standardize the process with the standard compound as a sodium benzoate. So it was found that the immobilized cells expression level is very low as compared to suspended cells. In case of GFP, tenfold decrease or the lower expression was observed, and minimum detection limit was also changed. Earlier it was 0.1 to 1 micromole. Here, after immobilization process, the minimum detection limit is 25 micromole. So we did the expression of the immobilized cell under the fluorescent microscope and the fluorimeter both. So for the so this is the basic procedure for the fluorimeter. So for the sodium benzoate bits, we dissolve in a sodium citrate solution, and when we use the agar-rose, then we use the gel melting solution. Same way, expression of CFP from the suspended and immobilized cells was determined. Here we use the naphthalene as a standard compound for the determination process, and we determined the expression under the fluorescent microscope as well as the solution in a fluorimeter. So here we found the 4-fold decrease in expression value as compared to suspended cells. And minimum detection limit for the polyaromatic hydrocarbon is 10 micromole. So after the expression of the immobilized and the suspended cell, we also go for the survival studies. Survival of E. coli strain under the immobilized condition and non-immobilized condition, and in presence of wastewater and the normal saline was done. The survival rate of E. coli under immobilized condition was found to be very low when stored with the actual wastewater. So we also go for the determination of the survival rate of the Pseudomonas species. So this Pseudomonas species was isolated from the combination treatment plant wastewater, Vatwa CGP, sorry, South Gujarat. And survival rate of Pseudomonas is high as compared to E. coli. And um, we try to isolate, we try to incorporate plasmid, whatever the constructed plasmid into the Pseudomonas species. So further plasmid or transform into the Pseudomonas using the electroporation method. And after the successful transformation of the vector into the Pseudomonas species, we go for the expression of the such GFP and CFP in a E. coli and Pseudomonas wort. So comparative expression study in suspended cells of E. coli and Pseudomonas was investigated. So this graph represents the expression of the GFP in presence of various monoaromatic compounds. Um, dark, dark bar represent the Pseudomonas vector expression from the Pseudomonas strain, and the light bar represent the vector expression from the E. coli strain. So expression pattern in presence of various substrate was found to be similar for both the strains, but however lower expression was observed in case of Pseudomonas. Similarly, we proceed for the expression of the CFP in presence of polyaromatic hydrocarbon compound. Here, similar results were found in case of CFP, lower expression, and we go for the determination of plasmid stability in the Pseudomonas strain. So we found that the lower expression was observed due to the instability of the plasmid in Pseudomonas as compared to E. coli. So plasmid easily retained from the Pseudomonas species. So cloning of the fluorescence-based reporter gene was successfully done, and applicability of the strain for the detection of pollutant in actual wastewater was found to be satisfactory. So expression of the reporter gene was monitored and compared for both the strains. However, the lower expression was found in the case of Pseudomonas, and this might be due to the instability of plasmid, and these plasmid are also low copy in number. So very yeah. And as for the expression study under the immobilized condition, agarose immobilized E. coli strains are more efficient and more suitable for further application. So we also need a few optimization are still required for the construction of the whole device using such strain. So if we are able to construct the multiple strains to determine the complete range of compounds, and in future biosensor device with the such strains may be applied to various stages and sources of wastewater. Here we are trying to highlight the stages where we can implement the biosensing strains or the biosensor device constructed using these strains. So it will help in reduction of the treatment steps and overall cost for the less polluted effluent, or this will lead to the change in treatment steps to reduce the environmental pollution caused by the highly polluted effluent being released into the environment. So by this way, we may use the wastewater for by this way analyzing the presence of the pollutant, and we divert the highly polluted wastewater for the treatment purpose. So this concept, so the online detection is important for the circular economy in a water and wastewater treatment. Thank you so much. Yeah, so now forum is open for the discussion and question.
Ma'am, I want to ask one question. How do
Yeah,
we how we are going to measure the expression for different hydrocarbons? Like what techniques or tools you are using to measure the expression of bacteria or any kind of pollutant like hydrocarbons?
yeah. So here we try to fuse the reporter gene. So here we are using the fluorimeter. We are using the fluorescence-based reporter gene GFP, CFP, and RFP. So for that expression, suspended cells, we are using the fluorimeter, or you can use the fluorescence spectrophotometer. And for the immobilized cells, fluorescent microscope is more viable. or or else you have to suspend your immobilized cells and then you have to go for the suspended cells using the fluorimeter.
Thank you, ma'am.
If you are using the lux based system, then you have to go for the luminometer. So it depends on the reporter gene. If you are using some other reporter gene, so uh, you can go for the spectrophotometer.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So someone raise any
Any
other
queries?
question?
Anyone can write in the chat box also if you want having any queries. If you are having any queries, please write it in chat box. No, madam, I don't think so.
Okay, I thought we need more time for the discussion with the faculty members or the research scholar. So that's why I try to wind up my presentation in 1 hour.
No, madam, it's okay, madam. So can we wind up this lecture?
Yeah, if there is no queries from the faculty members or other researchers, then we can go for it.
Yes. So next lecture will be started at 1:30. So everyone joined in that lecture. Okay. So this session is already over. Okay. So thank you very much, madam, for your
Thank you
kind
so much, sir.
consideration for for your talks.
Thank you so much, sir, for invitation and giving me this opportunity to speak in front of different faculty members, all the researchers, all the students.
Thank you, madam. Thank
Pleasure to meet you.
you. Everyone wait for that. We will send you the attendance sheet. Okay, within 2 minutes. Mail also and this link also. Both we can send it. You can give your attendance from mail also. Within 2 minutes, we can send the Google link. Okay, for attendance.